Hi, and welcome to our Zone end of year message. And this particular message is about elevation or elevate. And it's how shifting perspective can change your trajectory and experience. What I want to go through very briefly is these three levels of consciousness: the body level, the mind or intellect level, and the spiritual level, and how elevating can actually shift you through these levels and give you a different perspective on life. So why am I telling you this message at this time of year? Because I don't know what happens where you are in your country, but it seems that everyone just wants to get everything done before the end of the year. And so maybe instead of winding down, some of you are winding up. And what that does is throw you into a bit of sometimes disarray. Maybe you've got a lot of stress, maybe you're panicking to get a few things done before you go on holiday. So let's see if this can help. So let's start off with the body level first. So the body level is pretty much about your physical element of as being a human. And if you go back many thousands of years, of course, where before our intellect was developed, we really were in touch with our bodies. We walked on the land, we hunted, we fished, and we walked across deserts to get to our food sources. And so we were very much in touch with nature, and that's how we were born. We were born with that connection. But of course, that was also, heavy into survival and reproduction. And so it really was quite a competitive side of us. So back then, it was very much about how can I avoid pain? How can I move towards pleasure and away and survive? And if we get into that mode, it's a little bit like wading through life in the mud. So everything seems to be an issue, you're struggling with everything, it's all hard work. And that's because, it's really, you're not elevated, you're into the problems, you're fighting the alligators rather than elevating above the swamp to see if I just drained it, the alligators would be happy to leave. So that's part one down here. And this can be quite tumultuous. When we move up a level, so we start using our intellect, what we've developed over the last 20,000 years as humans, we start using our intellect. What happens is that we can then start to collaborate, design things, think about things. And, so in this mode here, this is where our ego gets born also. And so sometimes we collaborate, sometimes we compete, and sometimes you don't know which one it's going to be. But, it's very much still rooted or very close to our original body level consciousness, where you can get into that competitive survive and thrive mode, compete mode. And so here you can find that there's people in the world that are doing things to give and they're figuring things out to make some positive impact. But there's also a lot of people living in the world of what can I get? It's all about self. And when you get stuck in that mode, that's when you start to find that competing egos. So people start competing for resources. Oh, I want to be the best. I want to get the most. And so you start getting into that competitive mindset, which is very much like this. And that also creates a lot of stress. So at this time of the year, it's a real time to reflect and actually see if you can move up through these consciousness levels into what we call spiritual consciousness, which is really about an integrative consciousness. And that's looking at things as a whole. It's looking at us as whole people. It's looking at the planet as a whole world, looking at everything that we're interacting with. And it's a very, very long-term point of view. It's that point of view of when you plant a seed for an oak tree that maybe you'll never sit under, but in 200 years, your great-great-grandchildren will. Or making that viewpoint shift from just self into, hey, what can I give back to the world? How can I help the world in whatever form and shape that I can do it? And that's what this is about. So ultimately, what we're trying to do on a regular basis is really reflect on our week, on our day, on our month, on our year, and go, how much time have I spent in each one of these levels? And how can I elevate? Because even a moment of elevation, even 5 minutes of elevation in a week, even 10 minutes will give you a different perspective and change the trajectory in your life. And that's what elevation is all about. So I hope you have a great break, and we'll see you in the new year.